My name is MJ Martin, and this is the July Conservation Board meeting for the town of Philipstown. I'm filling in for the Conservation Board Chair, Andy Galler, who could not make it this evening. Let's start with some housekeeping. Approval of minutes. I think everybody, we just discussed, everybody was at that meeting who is present. So do I have a motion to approve June minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second? Second, thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approved. Let's start with old business. So, Walter Hoving home, please. Come on up, Beth.
I'm not sure y'all said y'all needed me here. I wasn't sure why. So do you just want to know? We had the conference call, and I'm not sure what questions y'all had at this point.
I think Andy had, I guess Sandra had reached out to Cheryl and Andy to kind of schedule the larger site visit, but it was agreed upon, I think from that meeting, that you agreed to do the additional modeling.
Right, we've signed the contract for the additional modeling. Yep. They were going to come out. They're scheduling it with their people right now. We're thinking it's probably going to be late July, early August. She was hoping that we can let y'all know the date, try to get you out at the same time. If we have to do another trip, she can, but she does come from far away. She is about to go on maternity leave, so I will have a new guy that will probably be handling that part of it. He's been involved since the beginning, though. So that contract was signed for the additional modeling down to 9D. The contract was signed for the design plans for the culvert, the beginning of looking at that project. And so that's kind of where we're at. And I would assume late July, early August, when they come out. She was hoping that y'all might want to see the site, but I don't know if you want to see the site before the modeling's done. So y'all would have to decide that.
So we talked about that a little bit, Beth, and I think maybe for the ease of scheduling, because you said they're coming from afar, so maybe it's Max and Andy that go and meet if possible, so that we've got some representatives there. Max has eyes on the process. Right. And then once the modeling's done, the whole board can come and look. Kind
That's
of get
fine
a better
with
sense
us
if that works
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
We'll get Ron and John, or the highway superintendent as well, to come out to that visit, the larger visit.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We've got the surveys. We know where all the lines are, the leach field is, where it goes in New York State, our permit on that. So we've been gathering all that, so it shouldn't be a problem to have that all together. But that's kind of where we're at, and we left that conference call with just kind of those pending items. But that the two contracts have now been signed.
That's terrific.
So
Thank you.
work is
It's
going
good
to get
progress.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if Sandra can just circle back with Cheryl again, just so that when she has dates to put on the calendar for her visit, then
My
let
guess
Andy know.
is it will be early August because I am out of town until the end of July. So, we'll schedule around all that. And, I think that they're trying to get it done as quickly as possible because we do have a deadline for some of our grant funding to have stuff done. And if we get delayed too long, we'll lose quite a chunk of funding. So we're trying to move it quickly. Okay? Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Okay. 47 Mill Road, John Halebian? Tell me if I'm misspelling your name. Okay. Thanks for coming in. So this applicant is seeking a permit to build a 30 by 24-foot single-story garage and accompanying driveway? Correct?
Good evening. So it's a single-family residence with an existing home, but they do not have a garage. Sorry about that. Here is the Here's the existing home. There is a little, I guess this is a parking area, little parking area. And over here is where the garage is gonna be proposed. There are steep slopes on the property, which limits where the garage could be located. We do get to avoid the steep slopes, but Clove Creek is across the street, and we are within the 100-foot buffer, but we are just 50 feet away from the stream, so as far as the regulation from the DEC, we don't need a permit from the DEC for that. Basically, it's a two-car garage that has and we're just gonna put a driveway apron in front of it. The garage will be 20 feet off of the traveled way. We're doing a little bit of grading behind the garage to, any water that's coming down off of the slope will just go around the garage as it naturally does now.
This was in front of the zoning board last month?
Yeah, so they were at the zoning board. They are seeking relief from the front yard setback. They will be compliant with the side yard setback, but, pushing the garage farther away from the road just makes the construction more difficult and does disturb the steep slopes. So they would still have to have a driveway. So there would still be a need for the wetlands permit because you would still need to get to the garage, even if we could put it farther back on the lot. They did not want to grant a variance without first getting a wetland permit.
Does anyone have any questions at this moment? I mean, I think we're going to need to go out and take a look.
You're gonna have a definite site visit.
Yeah, yeah. And, well, I mean, the road is there, but is it, my first question is it flagged?
It's flat where the garage is.
No, is it flagged?
Oh,
Flagged?
flagged. No, but we can flag it or get some swing ties. We can definitely.
Okay, just so that we have a sense of,
Do you want us to meet you at the site?
I think
Yeah.
that would be great. Yeah,
Sure.
I think that,
Yeah.
just so that we have better context when we're there.
Of
It would be
course.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the corners of the garage and so
Yeah.
forth, just so that we really understand.
Interject. The area where the garage is going to go is kind of covered with some stones and trees and stuff, so you wouldn't too easily see the ground because it's really covered with a lot of stuff. Just so you know, you're going to be looking at an area that's grown. It wasn't like that some years ago, but when they fixed the bridge, when they fixed the bridge over Clove Creek from Hurricane Irene, if you remember, they brought a lot of large boulders to build up the creek bank to protect the bridge better than the last one was protected. And they had some extra large stones, and they kind of dumped them in the area where we were proposing to put the garage. It was all kind of flat. There wasn't very much growth, but it's gotten really overgrown. We did have some pictures that were attached to the zoning application, which I guess you wouldn't have though, right?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, I don't want you to think you're gonna go there and you're gonna see a nice,
No, no.
Clean
This isn't our
space.
first rodeo. We've seen a lot of sites in Philipstown and in varying states, right?
Exactly.
So if we just have corners for the building,
Sure.
just some flags with corners, we'll be able to use our imagination and,
they're gonna be surrounded by trees.
We can do it.
yeah,
They can do it.
approximation, yeah. Yeah.
So I just have a quick question. So you're showing it off, as I'm looking at that picture up there to the right. Why not to the left, closer to that other driveway that's coming over there?
Because the slope is, we're sort of in a gorge, and the slope is much steeper and higher as you go down the road. We're trying to disturb the land as little as possible. The closer to Route 9 you get, the slope goes down, it's not as steep, and it wouldn't create as much fidget. Believe me, I'd rather the garage closer to my house than further from the house. The garage is gonna be closer to my neighbor's house than it will be to my house.
There's,
But-
okay, wait.
But it's just that the slope it gets easier to deal with the slope as you get further from the house.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's also an existing septic system area, so we can't
Oh,
build
okay.
there.
Oh, the septic over that way?
Well, it's in
Yeah.
the front yard,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
but
here.
But the simple thing is that you can see it's a huge rock ledge, and it kind of goes down as you get closer to the ridge. It's much, if you go down Mill Road further, it's maybe 30, 40, 50 feet high in the back of the property. It was probably something that got carved out by some glacier or something, who knows how many years ago. But that's the simple reason. The slope just goes down, there's just less rock to deal with, less of a
And-
disturbance.
And you would still need a wetlands permit because we would be even closer to Clove Creek. Yeah.
Would fit better, be more useful, closer to the house over on that side.
Work with what you've got. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so maybe you can work with Cheryl on scheduling a site visit for us?
Yeah, do you have to, you don't have to advertise?
No.
I
not
mean,
f- yeah.
I'm available this weekend if you're available this weekend.
This weekend probably won't, and, not all of the board members are here, so,
We're probably going to have to
Yeah.
do it by email,
yes, we're gonna have to circulate
because we have
that.
two board members that aren't present, and
I'll talk to Cheryl.
that would be great. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. Thanks. Ah, this might be a record, folks. Okay, the other discussion that we have is Century Aggregates, which is a project that's actually in the town of Fishkill that one of our fellow board members was keeping tabs on and informing us about. She is not present today, Madeline Ray, so we will forego any discussion of that project. But Bob Repetto is here, and he is going to just give us a quick update on the conservation subdivision zoning discussion, right?
Sure.
Just let everybody know where that stands, since you're on that subcommittee.
Okay, so we had a subcommittee meeting yesterday, and this was essentially the first with a working draft. So there's existing laws currently, and we're just going through and redlining potential changes and, improvements to the concepts and the code. So we don't have anything to share really tonight, but I just wanted to inform everybody that the process has started to look at the conservation subdivision code and evaluating potential improvements for the town.
That's great, so maybe next month or
Yeah.
the following meeting, we'll have some sort of a report out or a presentation on that?
Sure.
That'll be great. Great.
Great,
Okay.
Thank you.
Max, anything to report, stormwater, anything else?
I have three, really short bullet points, I guess, for stormwater. So it should only take a couple hours. No, I just,
Don't mess up my record.
just wanted to keep everybody in the loop that the town of Cortland I've been trying to engage them to give us some information regarding potentially doing a collaborative grant for a vacuum truck for the highway department. So they've finally become responsive, and so I'm hoping to set up a meeting with their town engineer at some point, probably in August, I'm guessing. And our consulting firm we're working with to do the MS4 mapping that basically we'll be paying with the money that we were awarded with the DEC grant for that mapping. We're going to be starting that work on the 27th to kind of go through and do a preliminary drive-through of that area of town and kind of get the logistics figured out for that. And that's really it. So things are moving forward on that side of things too.
That's great.
So,
That's going to be really helpful. Yeah.
I happen to know there's some culverts that you could vacuum out when you get that truck, too.
Well, I was going to say, maybe for those of us who don't know what a vacuum truck is, and the folks at home, you could explain what a vacuum truck is?
Yeah, it's a truck that basically is used to clean out catch basins and culverts that are filled with sediment. So any of the failing sumps that water flows into and fills with dirt or any other debris, they can be used to fill or to remove that from those stormwater conveyance structures. So we don't have one currently in town. We usually will borrow one from the county or borrow one from another municipality when we need it. So that's something that would be, this mapping grant will actually help us potentially apply for a future grant under the same program through the DEC for a truck itself. So once the mapping's done, we can apply for that grant in the future. So,
It's great.
yeah,
It's only going to come into more and more use.
yep. So those are the big updates, stormwater,
All right.
the stormwater side of things.
Does anyone else have anything to add or share?
Just one quick question. How do we make out with Berry? Did you ever go up there and mark that out?
You've got to speak into the mic, Tony.
I was wondering how, Max, how we made out with the Berry application.
She was still trying to figure out finding a consultant to do the wetland delineation. The last correspondence I had with her probably was 2 weeks ago. And she was talking with Beatty and Watson about having one of their wetland folks go out and do the,
So she opted not for the town to do it?
I don't know, I think she's still, it seemed like she was still in the figuring out pricing.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, there was a little bit of contention around how much of the wetland boundary she wanted to actually delineate. So I've had a back and forth with her about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, let's see if we can make this work. It
Yeah.
sounds like, I mean, longtime homeowner, looking to do something not super,
Yeah,
she's not building a tennis court.
yeah, hopefully not.
She's growing food.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can make it work,
Yeah, yeah,
within the bounds of the code.
sure.
Sounds good. Anything else? Wow.
Motion to close?
Okay, yes, a motion to adjourn the July Conservation Board meeting. Do I have a motion? Sorry?
I'll make that motion.
Oh. Oh, August. We have a couple things that are outstanding. I don't know whether we can skip or not.
Usually it falls on the board. I mean, I'm fine having it if you feel like there's anything
What would the
pressing.
date be? Because I'm out of town for a week. I think it's the 5th through the 11th, maybe?
I mean, I'm fine with foregoing it. I know it's a custom of many of the boards in Philipstown, to the appointed boards, to not have an August meeting, just because attendance is so hard. And,
The only thing you would be potentially voting on would be John's application. If you, after the site visit, you felt like we had enough information to satisfy moving forward with that.
okay.
There's nothing time dependent there, though, right? I mean, it's not,
I don't think so.
they haven't really started anything, so.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's another application that the zoning board is seeking our approval first before they even, they're still gonna need a variance, so they're still gonna have to go to the zoning board.
We won't be holding them up.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to have
Yeah.
at least another meeting with zoning then. Okay. Do we need to vote on that, Cheryl, as a board? Okay. Okay, well, since we're getting out in record time, this will be my little bonus statement, filling in. No Conservation Board for the month of August. We'll reconvene in September. But we'll still do field visits as necessary, and you'll keep the work going with Walter Hoving and so forth, and some of the other things, the other balls that are in the air, we'll make sure that we keep moving things forward. Okay, so now, once again, motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Thank you. Second? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Good night.